Hi, I hope you're doing good. Right now, I want to talk about the power of your soul and the power of being alone. So your soul is is where your spirit and your body collide, and this is where you become a person. So a person is a spirit who has a soul and who's having a human experience. So everybody is three in one. So the soul can also be the mind, it can be the personality, it can be the character. All of those things are in the soul. So the soul is very, very important, and everything that is happening in this world is targeted at your soul. So the word psyche, actually, where we get psychiatry, psychology, psychoanalysis, all of those things. Psyche means soul. So your psyche is your soul. So this is the root of the word in Greek. So everything that we refer to in terms of psychology is all about your soul. So the soul is the mind. So this mind has the subconscious. So the soul is the subconscious mind, and we usually refer to the conscious mind. So this conscious mind is where we're able to use language, use speech, and all of those things. But the soul is subconscious. So the subconscious mind, the psyche, this is the soul. So the soul is very, 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 very important. And everything that is happening, the war with heaven and earth, is for your soul. So it's for your psyche, for your spirit, for the spirit of your mind. This is a better representation of it. So the spirit of your mind is the soul. So it's a bit like hard to grasp, because how do you see spirit? How do you touch spirit? But the thing is, spirit is more real than matter. So everything that we see and touch, everything that we see in matter, in time and space, these things are just things that are not real. They're actually just an imitation of what is actually in the soul, what is actually in the ether. All right. So when we're talking about the power of being alone, this is very important because God is God alone. So what makes God awesome is the fact that He is three in one, just like people, mind, soul, body, three in one person. So God is God alone. He's the only God, right? The only God. And the ancients used to worship the sun as being God because the sun is the only thing in the solar system, so it's the only thing. So the part of being alone is very, very important. And in this world that we live in, we have to realize that everything is at one. Everything is one. So everything is sound. So everything in the universe is universal. Uni, one, verse, a group of words. So the universe is a sound. So the ancient Egyptians used to think that the world was created by a song, which is funny. And the modern day scientists think that the world was created by a bang, a sound. So if you look through in the Bible, they believe that the world was created by a sound, which was "let there be light," and then there was light. So these sounds are what we have, and this is at one. Everything is one, the one universe, the one sound. So this is where we get at atonement, at atone, a tone. So one tone is to atone. This is to be at one with God. So this is important. So when we talk about being alone, when you say alone, you're saying all one. That's ALLONE. All one is alone. So being alone is very important because when you're alone, all is one. So I'm not saying that you're not supposed to be with somebody else, but two is better than one, because if one person falls and he has no one to pick him up, then that is pretty bad. And if it's cold and there are two people can keep themselves warm, but one person can't do that alone. But what's important to note is that when people are together, they become one. This is how you get the spirit of a crowd. So when people are in a crowd, they lose their heads and get a new one. This is just a fact. The masses behave in this way. And I notice this every day when I'm looking at the stock market and stuff like that. Everything is just the one mind of the people. So this being atone, this being alone, this is when all is one. So when two people become friends, and then when they agree on anything, that is bound on earth and in heaven. This is when two or more agree on anything. It is bound in heaven and on earth. So an agreement, a tone, a single tone, is when people are in accord. So this is when we get these accords that are being signed. In history, they used to sign accords, these treaties, bilateral agreements. These are accords. You can also call them accords. So just like a chord, you play these chords on a string. So this is the same way that you get a tone, and then you get when all is one. So being alone does not mean being solo dolo. So here is the interesting part. So when a person is alone, you can say the person is solitary, right? So this is sole. Like you can say a sole proprietor. This means that a one-person business. So sole just means alone. S-O-L-E. This means alone. So you can say I travel solo and stuff like that. Then there's Star Wars Solo, or that's Han Solo, so that doesn't apply. But solo, right? So this is just alone, like a solo artist and stuff like that. And like an eagle, eagles travel solo. So this is what you also say is alone. So the word soul is interesting. First of all, I think you can already pick it up that it sounds just the same. It sounds identical with soul, S-O-U-L, the soul that we're talking about, the mind, the psyche. So the thing that you need to understand is that this world is a world of words. You see, it's even like a bit of a tongue twister. But everything in the world is made up of words. So the way that they sound, the tones, at one, atonement, accord, everything, the way that everything sounds has a reason. So this is why the soul and being soul are the same type of thing. So this same understanding is what I'm trying to drive at, and this is the point that I'm trying to bring out. So being soul, like knowing yourself, being alone, all one. This is when you begin to have deeper insights into who you really are. And it's very important for you to know who you really are, so that you know your soul, mind, and body, the three in one, the Trinity, which is in everything and everyone. So soul is a word that we use, S-O-L-E. This is the same word that we use for our feet. Alright, I was going to show you my feet, but I'm not that flexible yet. So the bottom of your feet is called the sole. So why is this important? So soul so far has three meanings. Soul is an S-O-U-L, S-O-L-E, alone, and S-O-L-E again for the bottom of your shoes or the bottom of your feet. And this is important, very important, because this is your actual soul. So this is where your body meets the earth, the ground. So this is where you're grounded. So this is your soul. So another word, the medical term, actually Latin term we use for feet is planta. Use that for feet and your soul, planta or plant. So I'm gonna say something crazy, but everyone is a plant. Everyone is an animal. And everyone is a spirit. So we live in this realm where God has given us dominion over everything. And we're taken from the ground, just like anything else. And just like the animals are taken from the ground. And the fish also depend on the ground. And everything, the water is in the ground. So everything that you see in this dimension is what we're made up of as organisms that live in this realm, which is what we are. We're also plant beings. This is why we keep on growing just like a plant. You grow up just like a plant. And just like a plant, we have these day and night cycles. In the afternoon, you're awake, and at night, you're sleeping. A plant also has the same type of rhythm. In the afternoon, they are breathing in carbon dioxide, and in the evening, they switch it up. They start breathing out carbon dioxide. So, this is how you get refreshed when you go to sleep. You're refreshed like a fresh plant every morning. And just like a plant, you also depend solely and entirely on the sun for your survival. Without the sun, there will be no life on earth. So this is why the first commandment is let there be light. Although that light is not actually the sun, because the sun is made on the fourth day. But that aside, we need the light. So the sun is also a trinity. It has light, it has heat, and it's also the physical sun. So that's something else. But this is how everything is created by God as He is formed. He is a trinity. He is one, but He's three. So He's alone, even though He's three. So everything might be alone, but everything is one. So just like a plant, people grow up and all of these things. And just like a plant, we depend on the sun. And plants need photosynthesis. And this is how the plants grow and everything. And we get our nourishment from the things that depend on photosynthesis. And not only that, if we didn't have the sun, we wouldn't be alive. Everything we see is because of the sun. So this is why people used to actually worship the sun. And I'm not saying that people should worship the sun, because it's a created organism that lives and operates in this solar system. So it's a solar system. Okay, so here, this is important because what I'm talking about are the words that we use. So the word that we were talking about is soul. SOLESUSOUL. And the important part now is that the sun is called soul. The sun is called soul. SOL. So this is the Latin word for the sun. This is what it's called today. And this is where we get solar energy. So everything that we're talking about is that. So the spirit of the earth, that light, that heat that emanates to us, this is the soul. So everything is in words. Everything is in words. So there is a higher understanding and a higher there's a higher sense of being that is beyond words. But in this dimension, this is how you actually are. This is your spirit. This is beyond words. But in this dimension, we all use words. So another dimension, when you're asleep every day, you use something else that's not words. Yeah, you can interpret your dreams using words, but the words are secondary. There's a primary drive and a primary setting there. And even in your dreams, everything is lit, but you don't actually see the sun. So this is the light. So there's that spirit. So I'm not talking about dreams right now, but so the soul is how we live. The soul is what gives life to the whole planet. So the important thing to know is that everything that comes from the earth that we depend on for survival is created by solar energy. So just like plants, we also depend on those plants, because we are not just plants. We're a higher form of being. But if you look at a person, they just look like plants. They also look like fish. They also look like animals. They also look like God. They also have a spirit. So people are something else. So being alone, being all one, is important for your development as a person. And to know this, because once you develop this understanding, you will know that the soul that you have is very important. So everything is in words, right? So SOUL, okay, this is the soul. And SOLE, this is the soul. So your soul touches the soil, and this is the plant. Your soul is called plant. The sun is called soul. So the soul, which is your feet, they touch the soil, which is SOUL, touches SO. Just remove one letter, and IL, SOIL, touches SOUL. And this is how you get planted. This is how you stand. So just like a plant needs the soil. So everyone in this dimension has to walk So no one's floating. Some people do float, but the point of the matter is this is the soil and the soul, which is basically the same word, because everything is nourished in the earth. The sun comes to the world, and then it heats up the soil, and everything comes from the soil. We come from the soil. We come from the soil. So this is our soul. This is the body. Without the body, we wouldn't be alive in this way. Would be like in a dream world. But then the body comes from the soil, and this is where we get the psyche, the mind. The body is part of this trinity of soul, mind, and body. So we have that because of soil. So this soil is important. So the soil that we are standing in, this is where God got that soil, and He breathed life into it, and then we got a spirit from that. So that is how it actually works. So all became one. So when you see someone, this is how the soil actually becomes one. So every person is just like the soil that grew from the ground, and then it represents everything in the universe in one being. This is what everybody is. You are everything in existence contained in that package that you are in, that solar package. You need the sun. So you actually grow like a plant, because when the plants are growing, you eat them so that you grow. So this is how this is how everything works. Everything is there at your disposal because you have dominion over everything in this world because of your being, okay? What you become. So this is where we get the soil. And then, so we have the soil, okay? The soil is where we get the human being. So the word human actually means humus. So humus is the organic compound of the soil. So it's humid. This is why everyone is a humid person. We need water in order to survive. Humidity. So this is where you get the human aspect. Humans are humus. We come from the soil, and the soil is where we get our soul from the ground. Because once you have a body, you automatically have a soul. So once you don't have a body, you're automatically a spirit. So the psyche and the mind. So this is where it all combines, right? So then you have this humus. You have this humus. So you have the soil. You have the humus, which is the human, and then you also have dirt. So dirt is interesting because dirt implies that something is not good. So dirt is a condition of being a human. We get dirty and we have to be cleaned. That's why people are encouraged to be baptized. In fact, encourage is not a strong enough word, but people should be baptized so that they can clean that dirt off, and then they can be clean. This is important. You have to take that soul bath. You have to clean yourself. So this is the rebirth, and it's a rebirth because you're now born of water and spirit and fire. So this is actually a whole other aspect of it. So this dirt is also interesting because everything is words, and everything that I'm talking about is verifiable through these words because of the word that became flesh. Okay, so the dirt is dirt, and this dirt is what caused everything in civilization to happen. This dirt is the result of our psyche being corrupted because we ate the forbidden fruit. So what happened is this, that this dirt, like, all right, God told us, like, all right, if you eat this fruit, the consequence will be death. The consequence is you will die. The consequence is dire. So die is D-I-R-E. And die is D-I-E, and dire is D-I-R-E. So if you remove the R, you have die. So the dire consequence of anything is death. This is where we get that word. And dirt comes from D-I-R. Instead of an E, we add a T, which is the the etymology of these words. So it's dire, it's death, it's dirt. So this is actually what it means. So dirt also means, like, you can also say dirty is how dirt is not a good feeling, and it's not actually good. Like, to be hygiene, to be yeah, cleanliness is next to godliness. It's actually true, and everything that is clean is good. And if it's unclean, then it's not really good because it's dirty. It's dirty. So we don't want to be dirty because that is next to death, right? The dire consequence to die, D-I-E, is D-I-R-E. This is the dire consequence, and this is where we get the D-I-R-T, the dirt. So this dirt is the soil. So this is where it gets crazy. That you could also say that a person who eats will eventually get dirty because he will synthesize this food, photosynthesis, right? So this is when we take the solar rays and then we synthesize them, and then you also synthesize the plants through that photosynthesis. You're actually eating light because everything comes from that. You're actually eating light. That is just what it is. You're eating light. So you photosynthesize that, and then it's synthesized into your body, and then this is what you get. Actually, the word synthesis is just to combine, and then this is where we get the origin of sin, which is synthetic. So anything that is synthetic is something that is wrong, and this is what we mean by sin. So this is where this actually comes from, synthetic. So what the devil is trying to do is trying to create a synthetic world with synthetic desires, synthetic everything, which is not real. So everything is just a duplicate of what was happening. So God said that if you do this, then this is going to happen. And then the devil had a synthetic theory, which is what he told Eve, and then Eve sinned, and then the consequence was death. Was dirt, was dirt, which is dire, which is death. That was the consequence. Okay, and because you can't synthesize with that, there is no light. Light is that knowledge. Let there be light. So you can't synthesize that with your being. You have to have the truth, the true light, the true knowledge. So that synthesis was the wrong synthesis, and that's exactly what happened with Eve. And so when we're looking at, so this is where we get what Eve actually did, that it caused death, and it caused for the soul of man to be stained. So this is why it has to be cleaned with water and later on with fire. So everything is happening really because of that. So what we get is that our soul is the sole purpose that we're actually in this world, and our soul is the psyche, which is the mind, and everything that is happening is gravitating around this factor that we have to be atoned to God. We have to be at one with Him, at that tone, in that tone. So this is how we actually understand the words that he's saying, because these words are just tones, sounds, vibrations, frequencies, and this is how we find our atonement. So this is how we become in accord with Him, to be in harmony, and this is how we become in unity with Him, to be united. This is why it's important to be all one. This is unity. One is the symbol of unity. So this is very crucial in anyone's understanding. And he said that you should be holy, for I am holy. To be holy is to be whole. A whole is one. So holiness is to be oneness, at one, at tone, atonement. So this is important. So to find this atonement is to find the for lack of a better words, the frequency, to be on God's frequency, to be in tune with His words. This is how you do it, to attune to His words, to be in that tune, a tone, a chord. So it's all about the knowledge of the words, and these words are very important because everything in the universe is of the universe. So everything is off the one verse. Let there be light. Let there be knowledge. So this light is knowledge, because this is not the sun. So the soul, SOL, is the sun, which represents the one God. And the sun is important because it actually gives us our sight, warmth, it gives us our being. Everything else is coming from there. And everything else that is synthetic is falsely being synthesized. So this is important, that we all have a solar plexus, and the middle of your body, this is called a solar plexus, because you are a solar entity. You're solar powered, just like a solar panel. And you need the sun in order to live. That's why your solar plexus is the most, like, it's very open. And this is where in China they called it the chi area. In Asia they called it where your chi is. This is the zone where you have your chi energy, which is your vital source. So this is where your life is actually at, in your solar plexus. And below the solar plexus, this is where you have the navel. And this is where your life began. This is where your soul began. Your life is that. So everything is tied into your soul, and how you protect your mind, how you protect your psyche in this jungle we call life. So this dirt is something that we find ourselves with because of this human condition. So people get dirty. We have to wash our bodies every day, right? Every day you have to bath, like whatever. Yeah. So you find yourself in dirt, which is uncomfortable, and you have to wash it off. So what happens is this, that death is actually representing that death, which is a slow death, decomposing. So dirt is also something that we also call soil. So you can say someone soiled his pants. So this soil is, remember, this is where the soul is. So the plant person is soiled in the soil. The soul is where the soil is. So soiling means defecating, pooping, whatever. So this is what happens, and then you become dirty. So also, when a person falls to the ground, to the soil, you become dirty. So you remember that Adam and Eve were in paradise and they fell from grace, and then they became dirty. They became dirty, they had to be cleaned up. So that dirt, dire death, says that if you eat from this, you're surely gonna die. The consequence is dire. The consequence is death. So dirt. So they fell, and then they became dirty. And also, before a person actually gets dirty, which is like when a baby, if you are gonna change a baby's diaper, it's after the baby eats, and then after he eats, he gets a call to nature, right? So this is the dirt, and this is what happened when Adam and Eve ate, and then they became dirty. So they ate, they fell, they became dirty. They ate, they became dirty internally because it had to pass through. It had to be synthesized. So they were synthesized with the synthetic, the dirt. So that dirt was not able to stay in them, and then they became dirty, and that's how they actually did it. So like as I'm talking about this, I know that there are so many things that are happening, especially in the Bible, especially in the world, like with everything that we have, like there's so many things that are going on, and you will hear this, and I just want you to be able to be like a Berean, to find this truth in yourself. The only reason why I'm sharing this is because I want to create space to get more information. So if I don't share it with you, then I won't be able to find something else. So I'm sharing this as I'm learning it, so that you can also be on this path. It says that the hidden things are for no. It says that what the hidden things are forgotten. No, it is, yeah, exactly. It is the glory of God to hide a thing. It is the glory of kings to reveal a matter. And it also says that it is the Holy Spirit who will come to you and whisper into your ear things you've never even thought about. So this is actually how it works, that you're going to discover certain things just by reading the Bible, by atoning, like being at one with God, being at one with yourself. Because remember that God is in you. You are God. Does not your scripture say that you are gods? This is what Jesus said. And also David said the same thing. Like, oh, okay. I think this is actually our main problem, that we believe that we're just animals or plants. Alright, no one thinks they're a plant, but we believe that we're just these homeless animals, but actually we are gods in this dimension. So if you know that, then you have a very, very powerful thing to latch on to, so that you know that you have so much power, so much power. So I hope that this is just a gateway for you to realize the truth about your place in the stars, your place in this world, your place in the heavens, and everything. So this dirt is what we want to wash ourselves off, and this dirt represents death, and this death is actually ignorance. So their eyes were open after they ate, and then they fell. They became dirty because they fell to the soil. They became dirty. They got soiled, and this is how they became dirty, because they fell. The fall from grace is just that, and everything else that was happening is a result of that. The dirt, the soil, the sole of their feet. So when we plant our feet wherever we are, just know that you are representing the entire host of heaven and everything else that is in existence. So it is up to you to be the light in any situation, to be the light in any situation. Because at the end of the day, you are also the light. That soul, SOL. You are the sun in your home. You are the sun in your vicinity. This is why Jesus was saying, you don't light a candle and put it under the bed. Come on. So you are the sun, because God is the Father of lights. So as a child of God, you are a light. So you are the light of this world. So this light has to shine bright because you are the light. So this is the scripture of Jesus. He's saying that, hey, if you have a light, if you have a candle, you don't put it under a bed, you don't put it in a basket, you put it on top of the hill. So whatever you do, just aim to perfect it, aim to excel, aim to succeed, and just know that this is your calling, to be on top of the hill, shining bright, because that is just who you are. This is just who you are, and there's no other way to put it. So just do that, and protect your psyche, protect your mind from the influences of the world. It says that, it doesn't say that like don't be in the world, like don't. It says that don't be stained in the world, don't be dirty, right? And it's all about don't be stained by the spirit of the world. So that's different, the world itself and the spirit of the world. For God so loved the world, he actually loves this world. But then there's a problem in the spirit of the world. So the spirit of the world, whoa, there's so much happening these days. So much synthetic stuff. Synthetic. Too much fakeness. No truth. Synthetic stuff. Like, I'm just gonna leave it there, because I'm sure you can think of so many synthetic things that are happening, unnatural things. So all of these things are actually sin. So yeah, this is synthetic. So we're supposed to be synthesizing, photosynthesis, but everything has been duplicated. So this is why duplicate is two. This is why we're talking about one. All one, to be united, whole, holy. Okay, so I just hope that you got that. Your soul is your soul, which is your soul, which is the soil. And your soul actually means plant. Your feet are called plants. That's why you plant your feet, and everything else flows from that. So the soul is also the sun, the soul. So the soul is the soul is the soul is the soul is the soul. So yeah. So protect your soul, protect your light, protect your mind, protect your feet. Where you're standing. It says that Psalm 1 says that the right. I'm kind of forgetting it. So much pressure. The righteous is like a tree planted by streams of living water, flowing water. His leaf does not wither. In everything he does, he prospers because he's planted there, he's soiled there. That's where his feet are. So, where are your feet? In that psalm, it speaks about how you shouldn't be with people who are not going to fill you with living water. So, where are your feet planted at? So, this is the imagery in the first psalm that says that you are a plant. Read Psalm 1 and check it out for yourself. So, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this, and I just hope for blessings and peace in your life and everything for in your life to just flow. So everything is gonna be awesome, and I believe that because I believe it. So that's gonna be the truth in your life. Whatever you're going through, just know that it's meant for your benefit, and everything is going to be all right. Everything's gonna be better than you've ever imagined. Just keep your mind on that price. Just keep your mind where you have already imagined it. The very fact that you've imagined something awesome is evidence that it's already yours. So just plunge your feet by the stream of living water and see what happens. Thank you so much.